Welcome into the Bears Coaches Show featuring head coach Matt Eberflus, and a pleasant good evening, everyone. I'm Jeff Joniak here with you until 8 o'clock tonight. Good evening, Matt. How was your weekend, and were you able to get away even a little bit?
Good evening. Yes, we did, and we worked a little bit, to start the week. The coaches came in, we did a little self-scout the first couple of days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then I gave the coaches off Thursday through Sunday. So we got a chance to get away, recharge our batteries a little bit. But, self-scout was good. We got a chance to look at ourselves like we did during the mini-bye and improving our schemes as well as our players.
You really never turn the brain off football-wise, do you?
No, you always have your iPad with you, so which is always nice. You can always watch a little tape and, always, get a little something from that. And we certainly did that.
All right, weird question, but do you have the iPad next to you when you're talking to your bride? You got the weekend. When's the last time you took her on a date?
I have not taken it on a date. That would not go well. But no, that was good. You get a chance to do a little bit in the mornings, and it was good to get away a little bit, but certainly stay connected.
Has it been a challenge for you over the course of your career to find that work-life balance, family cycle, and all that goes on? Because it really is a 365, 24-hour job a little bit.
Yeah, you really have to do a good job of kind of compartmentalizing it, where you have your breaks like on Friday afternoons where you spend family time, and then some time a little bit on Saturday, a little bit for home games. But it's only a few hours here and there. You're pretty much wired in the rest of the time. Did
you get a look at some games yesterday just for fun?
Yeah, I got a chance to watch the Philly game, of course, and I watched that, on the way back. I was flying back into Chicago, but I got a chance to watch it on the plane.
Thoughts?
Yeah, they look really good. I mean, obviously they were humming on all cylinders, jumped out to a 21-0 lead. Did a really good job running the football late to kind of close the game out, but played good offense, defense, and kicking.
All right, we'll break into them a little more detail in our last segment of tonight's program. But, they are cooking a 12-1 first team to clinch a playoff spot in the NFL. Some remarkable quarterback play yesterday with the Magicians now decorating this league. I got to put Justin in that category as well. But the handiwork with the football, almost like point guardish, with the guys like Jalen Hurts, obviously Patrick Mahomes. The work of Brock Purdy, my fellow Iowa State alum, gets his first NFL start and beats Tom Brady and does so convincingly. I mean, what is going on in this league?
I don't know. I knew you had to get that Iowa State plug in there. I knew that was coming. No, he did a great job. Purdy did a really good job yesterday. And it's just, the dynamics of the league is changing. The mobile quarterback and the guys that can really move and adjust on the fly. You're seeing that all the way through Allen, our guy, Mahomes, Lamar. All those guys are really dynamic players, and they can hurt you in a bunch of different ways. And it's an exciting time for the NFL.
All right, what happened during the bye week that you're pleased with, and what it's going to do for you moving forward for the final month?
Yeah, I just would micro it down to the individual. I think that, us, partnering ship with the coaches and players, that's so important to be able to help the individual player, so he can help himself to improve his fundamental techniques and therefore help our overall units. Because before you look at scheme, winning football games comes down to the basic rudiments of the game. That's blocking, tackling, running your routes the correct way, covering the right way, and making plays on the ball and all the things that we talk to our players about. But there's details that go into that, and I think that's that partnership of working with that. So that's what I'm most excited about. And then secondly, obviously improving our schemes. That's obviously a big part of what we want to do. We want to learn, and do a better job in situational ball. Third down defense has to improve. The red zone, run defense, we need to do a better job of too. And then on offense, we were getting better in the passing game. The rhythm and timing that's been improved, but also let's learn how to, close out the end of the halves and, get some no huddle going along, in our 2-minute situation to make sure the tempo of that is doing, is functioning the right way. So we're excited about getting our 2-minute offense going too.
You've been commended over the course of the season for adjustments and what's taken place into the second half. And out of that bye week, 33, 29, 32, 30 points in those first 4 games. Can we expect something of that sort? Do you hope here in the final 4 games on either side of the ball, something significant like that? Because that has been a commendable part of this, even though the record doesn't reflect it.
Yeah, we definitely want to see improvement. When you emphasize something, we want to see the fruits of that. So we want to make sure that we emphasize, we do a good job of detailing it out for the players, but also keeping it simple. It can't really be, this big complex thing. You can get better at 2 or 3 things on either side of the ball, just like an individual does. And if you focus on those, good things will happen.
Well, certainly the explosion that is Justin Fields shows up on the ground and in the air, and I think people would probably fail this quiz if they were asked who, heading into Week 14, was leading the NFL in explosive plays as a team, and the answer would be the Chicago Bears. Does that even surprise you a little bit? That's a lot of explosive plays on the ground and then through the air, and obviously he's a big part of that.
Yeah, so obviously he is a big part of that. He's been a big part of our offense, and he does that, multiple times a game. So that doesn't really surprise me. Again, it's hard to defend when you have somebody like that, running your offense, and he's exciting to watch.
6 straight games with 50 or more yards rushing and at least 1 touchdown. That's the longest streak since Gale Sayers in 1969. And today is the anniversary of Gale Sayers' 6-touchdown game. And I don't know if I ever told you this, but I had an opportunity at Hallis Hall, PNC Center, to sit down with him and break down his 6-touchdown game against the 49ers at Wrigley Field in the mud. And it was one of the most gratifying moments of my career. But he was darting all over that field, and the field was muddy for everyone but Gale Sayers. That was the quote from Ditka. The great Jack Brickhouse, the announcer, then says, Galloping Gale carries the mail. They won 54-20. It was a rookie performance of legendary note. The two play different positions. Justin has the same kind of explosion, but that cat, he made his cuts almost midair. Now, I'm not saying Justin does that, but the explosion of an athlete is so rare. They come around once in a generation. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And, you get a chance to see these guys, once every couple decades that can move like this and can function in weather and different conditions. And it's just it's the God-given talent that they're blessed with, that the ability to stay on their feet, the ability to have balance, the ability to accelerate, the ability to cut and move. And what's great about it is they all move differently. They come in all different sizes, Barry Sanders, all the different guys, Gale Sayers, Walter Payton, all the great runners that we've had in this league. And what's great about it is they're all unique. They all got their own style. And Justin's no different. He has his own style, and he's certainly exciting to watch when he does his thing.
One segment in the books. Snap is back against a 4-man rush. Good protection. Slings it to the left corner of the end zone. Up in the air for the catch. Darnell Mooney for the touchdown. Touchdown Bears. 16-yard strike from Fields to Mooney. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show. Jeff Joniak with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Great seats available to see your Chicago Bears this season at Soldier Field. Get your tickets at chicagobears.com/tickets. Matt Eberflus, fans are super jacked about Justin Fields and an offense that is scoring points. It's fair to say their excitement is justified. 7 weeks of it of late and 4 more big games to go. We just heard one of Justin's big passing touchdowns to Darnell Mooney this season, and that's the elevation part of the game that we're all keeping an eye on. Certainly started to come to form against the Packers. Did you see a lot, discuss a lot during this bye week with your coaches about that aspect of his game?
Yeah, and we were really pleased with the protection that the offensive line provided last week to give Justin that opportunity to really function in the offense and to be able to see downfield, with a clean pocket. And, obviously that we want to do that every single week, but they're there to be committed for that for sure. But Justin's doing a really good job of keeping his shoulders, his platform, everything in the right spot to be able to deliver the ball down the field. So he's going to continue to work on that consistency so we can still see, we can see more of that going forward.
What do you want to see from the offense for the rest of the season to feel good about 2023? Now, I know that's a big statement to make because you got a month of games left here, and this roster will be different next year. But Justin Fields and the platform and the foundation that's being formed here, I know you mentioned the word consistency a lot with all the questions today from the media this morning up at Hallis Hall regarding all aspects of the team. Is that really it?
Well, the most important thing is our style. The way we play, the hits principle is very important to us. That's our foundation that we believe in: offense, defense, and kicking. And you can see that, and that all starts with our running game. The offense, the ability to run the football is very important to us. Defensively, we want to see a big jump in our run defense these next 4 weeks to be able to stop the run. That's one of our big things we need to work on, and then obviously protecting the ball. We got to do a great job protecting the ball, not only in the first 3 quarters, but also during 2 minute. We got to do a better job of finishing games, and us protecting the ball and be able to operate in a 2-minute offense is going to be very important to our success going forward. And our 2-minute defense, to be able to stop, people to field goals or hold to 0 points in a 2-minute drive, and get a 4-and-out or a takeaway to end the game. That's something we would like to see also. But so again, that whole thing about finishing, that is a team goal. It's a team thing that we want to really accomplish here going forward, and certainly improve on as we meet these really good opponents coming up here in the coming weeks.
These opponents, in my opinion, serve as a great benefit to you as a head coach and this football team, again, regardless of who's here, who's not in next season. But you got 4 games against teams that have a lot to play for, including 2 big dogs right now, back to back. Can you create a playoff atmosphere in your building for these final 4 games and just, hey, whatever's happen? Who can we be here in these next 4 weeks? Is that possible? Can you create that?
Well, I think the guys are excited about this opportunity to play these teams of this caliber, and it all starts with the Philadelphia Eagles, the best team in football right now at 12-1, and it's going to be a big challenge for us, and we'll see if we can operate and do a great job with just staying in the moment, and playing one play at a time, like we always say, and be able to function, at a high rate and be able to execute at a high rate against this good opponent.
There will be no doubt a lot of discussion, comparative contrast articles. The media will be working their tails off on Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, their first 2 years, the comparative analysis with Justin Fields in his first 2 years, and then each of these guys taking off in their third years. Is there something to that?
Yeah, I think there is. There's these young quarterbacks develop at a certain time. They're all different. They all have a bunch of different skill sets. They're a lot alike in a lot of ways, but they're also different in a lot of ways too. And Justin's journey is different than Josh's, different than Jalen's. It's his own journey, and he's going to develop at his own rate. And again, the pieces around those players are different. And that certainly does, make a difference. But we're certainly excited where Justin is and where his future is.
Well, these opponents also give you some help in just further scheme development, the individual development, and the competitive aspect of things, because, you got a lot of young players going up against some really impressive talent here.
No, I think that's good. I really do. You can really, see where everybody is. I think it's a great evaluation for all of our guys. And I think the guys are excited about going against some of the best players in the league. These teams have really strong rosters, and they got some really good skill. Their top 10 players are really good players at all positions. And that's why they're good football teams, because they have those top 10 players at each position. And the guys are excited about the challenge.
Lance throws. Oh, picked off. Eddie Jackson's got it. Up with it at the 40, 35, 30. Eddie Jackson inside the 25-yard line and down near the 22. It's been 31 games since Eddie Jackson had a pick. 4-man rush, pressure coming, wrapping him up and bringing him down. Down he goes, Dominique Robinson, the rookie out of Miami of Ohio. Sacks Trey Lance on 3rd and 8.
Calling all Bears fans, get the ultimate VIP fan package with Chicago Bears VIP. Secure a game ticket and appearance from Bears legends and more by visiting ChicagoBearsVIP.com. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with head coach Matt Eberflus. Just heard a couple of early season highlights. Eddie Jackson, an interception. Dominique Robinson, sack. Some of the things you're looking a lot more of from your defense here in the final part of this season. Injuries and other situations defensively have certainly cropped up and put a big challenge on your unit overall. But these are things you're going to preach until the cows come home, buddy. Right?
Yeah, that's right. And really we hold ourselves to a high standard, and that high standard is the ability to hustle every single play, the ability to have a strip attempt, on every single play, and to cause takeaways, during the course of the year. So, we fell short, the last few weeks of that, and we're looking to get that thing going here these last 4 weeks. But as you just heard on the radio there, Eddie Jackson's interception, he had 4 interceptions. Obviously, losing him is a big part of that. He's a big ball hawk guy. that creates a lot of takeaways himself. But he certainly has the knack for that and has great concentration, and he does a really good job in the deep part of the field.
I had forgotten this looking up some statistics on Dominique, in that he had 7 tackles in that first game, in his first NFL game at Soldier Field. Now, the track was what it was. It was rainy, wet, all that business. But you mentioned a week ago you felt that there was major improvement against the Packers. He talks about owning his other gap. He says he does all right owning the first gap. It's the need to improve the second gap, and he tends to play too high. Has he nailed it? And what is he referring to with owning 2 gaps?
Yeah, so we call that gap and a half. So meaning that if a guy's playing outside shade of the tackle and he's a defensive end, he owns that C gap. But if the ball gets run into the B gap, once the ball declares in there, he can shed off and play the B gap as well. We call that gap and a half. So you own your gap. The first gap is the C gap. The half gap is the B gap. Once the ball declares in there, he can shed and make a tackle in that gap. So that's what he's talking to. Defense line always need to play lower. We talked about his hustle. He's been really good at hustling, the whole year and giving the second effort. And he has a high standard for that. And it hasn't been where he wants it to be, but he certainly improved that last week. And we look for him to keep improving that in the coming weeks.
Is there a common denominator with young players, especially rookies? And in his case, particularly because he hasn't played the position for an entirety of his life, that hustle plays and all that kick in because they're either thinking too much on the field or maybe feeling a little defeated at their lack of success on a down-to-down situation? I mean, what is the common denominator with situations like that?
Yeah, I would just say that he's, working to be consistent. I know that a lot of times rookies go through this rookie wall around Thanksgiving, and that is real. Some guys do go through that. But I think Dominic's strong enough mentally to push through, and to do a really good job coming up here in the next 4 weeks. And, we'll see where he goes. And we expected him to get he was really close to hitting the quarterback last week. He was in his pass rush moves, and we showed him those couple opportunities that he had. He just really needed to be a little bit stronger at the top of his rush and step through. And he's going to get some hits on the quarterback.
Jack Sanborn, when you think about it, he opened the season as the 5th linebacker. You knew he would play special teams if he made the football team, but the instincts are just popping all over the place. He's getting a lot of ink, a lot of discussion. People are thrilled with this guy. Double-digit tackles now, 3 times in 4 games. Roquan did it 6 times as a 2018 rookie, so he's got a chance to nail that. He's up to 59 tackles, 5 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, a fumble recovery, and all those special teams tackles. We mentioned it last week. He's a revelation, but maybe not a surprise.
And you forgot the interception taken away from him, but we won't say
that. And a partridge in a pear tree here in this holiday season, Matt. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's been really good, and he's got really good instincts for the ball, and more importantly, he hustles. This guy plays hard. He's very instinctual. He does a really good job of working to the ball. He can read his keys really fast. I think that's very helpful for a linebacker. And the biggest thing we talk to our linebackers about, and this is going to sound elementary, but it's hit the ball. You as a linebacker in the middle part of the defense, you should hit the ball. So you should get the TFLs, you should get the sacks, you should get the interceptions, you should get the caused fumbles, the recovered fumbles, because you're in the middle of the defense. And the Chicago Bear fans are they're very familiar with this position because of the greats we've had at that position at the Chicago Bears. And we certainly want instinctual linebackers that hit the ball.
Bailey Zappi tip, intercepted Connor Gordon, down the right side, 30, 20, 10, and shoved out of bounds. Back to throw, Mac Jones. Here comes a little pressure, throws down the field. Pass is snared out of the air by Brisker. What an interception. Went up high, one-hander, I believe, Tommy, and sucked it into his belly.
Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with head coach Matt Eberflus. That's the Connor Gordon interception of the Bears' last win in New England. Bailey Zappi's 4th quarter pick there. I also heard Jaquan Brisker's amazing one-handed interception. Back with Matt Eberflus, I actually had a visit with Brisker. We had an event last Tuesday, Tom Thayer and I, with some Bears sponsors, and that interception meant a lot to him. He said New England really never gave him a thought in the draft, and it was in the back of his mind, so he wanted to play all out for that game. I love his attitude.
No, he's got a great attitude, and he's got high energy. Obviously both those guys have a really good knack for taking the ball away. Both those plays that they made in that New England game are really special. Obviously, the high point from Brisker, being able to high point that with one hand, and then obviously the tip pass, that concentration that it took Gordon to be able to catch that, and obviously the good return he had and all those things. But two impactful plays in that game up in New England.
At some point in your season, they're no longer rookies, right? They got to think and play like veterans. Have any of these guys reached that point?
Yeah, well, the old-time NFL guys would say that they're rookies until the third game of the second year.
Okay, that's true.
That's the rule, and I'm not going to break that rule. But these guys have had a lot of experience working, this year, much, as Dominic and Brisker and, obviously Sanborn and all the rookies that have played in special teams and have stepped in on defense as well. So we've had a handful of those guys. I think it's 11 rookies that have played significant time, either offense, defense, kicking. Obviously Trenton Gill's done an awesome job as well. But when you play that many rookies in one season, there's a lot of benefit to that, going into these last 4 games, because they do have a bunch of games under their belt. Like I said, once you learn these experiences, you only can get them through experience. And it's an important part to be able to put those things away and learn from them and get better and grow as a rookie. So those guys are doing that. We're getting better before our eyes.
Heck, I think it's 14 because 8 started a game, 6 more on the active roster have impacted somewhere on all 3 phases, 48 starts. And again, we know your history. You believe in kids. Why the trust? Well,
I just think that, in the last 2 spots that I've been, Indianapolis in 18 and here at the Chicago Bears, this is where we were kind of put in that situation. And, when you draft guys that you believe in and you put them in there and you have the coaches, the ability to coach and teach really well, and you have the systems to be able to plug and play at an early rate, like our offense, defense, and kicking systems are. And our coordinators have done an excellent job. Alan, Luke, and HT have done a great job of putting those guys in position to be successful.
Is it hard to have patience in building a roster?
I think as a coach, you have to have patience. You really do. You got to be able to see around the corner. You got to be able to see the best in a player while he's working through adversity. And I think sometimes, and this happened to me when I was in college, that, my coach believed in me before I believed in myself. And then I started to believe it. And then I became a decent player. But, and that's exactly what we want to do as coaches. We want to believe in our players. We want to help them grow and help them fundamentally to succeed on Sundays.
You said after the tough loss to Detroit 31-30 in Week 10, this is your quote, players are learning perseverance and determination. And that clearly is part of football, part of winning habits, as you like to say. Do you feel you see a lot of positive signs of winning habits that have already formed and yet to finish forming, obviously, the finishing aspect that you mentioned earlier in the show?
Yeah, I really do see that, because our coaches do a great job of resetting every single week, and our players do the same. They reset every single week, and to me, that's winning habits. That's how you go on win streaks. That's how you form championship habits and become a champion. To be able to look at the wins as the same as you do defeat, and just be determined to go forward and get better every single week. And our players have done that. They put the work in every single week in practice, and they're focused and they're detailed in their preparation.
Snap is back, looking to throw. Fields jumps up in the pocket. Now he's going to have to keep it himself. He runs, he gets the first down to midfield. Away at the 40. Fields to the 30, to the 20. Can he beat the angle? He does. He finishes in the end zone. Touchdown, 61-yard. A Sunday stroll for Justin Fields, and the Bears do match fire with fire.
The Bears matchup with the Eagles is brought to you by United Airlines, official airline of the Chicago Bears. Welcome back to the Bears Coaches Show with head coach Matt Eberflus. Just heard one of Justin Fields' tremendous 50-plus yard touchdown runs, 3, most of any quarterback ever. He's done it in 29 days, and he did it against Miami. I don't know. I can't pick a signature play of the season yet. Have you for Justin?
No. You have to go back and watch them again. There's so many of them. So yeah, you gotta go back and watch, because there's some really good ones in there. Obviously the 3 runs that he had over 50 yards, and then obviously the passes, the deep passes he's had over the last couple weeks. Just some really remarkable plays by the young man, and he's only getting better.
All right, you touched on the offensive line. I don't feel like over the course of these shows, it's my fault because I'm the one asking the questions, but we haven't given enough due to this offensive line, honestly. And the protection was outstanding last week. No sacks. hopefully they can build some momentum because, boy, they got, we keep talking about the Eagles, but I know that you, in a dream world, would like to have 2 levels of starting caliber defensive linemen rotating in because it looks like they've got it. But so a big task, but explain exactly how pleased you are, despite the constant change up front, you are with this offensive line. Certainly they've done a hell of a job in the run game, and that's been the entire unit. Including tight ends, receivers, and backs. But the pass protection, I mean, yes, they've given up some things. They've caused pressures. But you got an interesting mobile quarterback there too that they've had to adjust to. There's a yin and yang to this and development overall.
Yeah, so overall it starts with Chris Morgan, and Austin King, the 2 coaches that coach those positions. They lay the foundation. We have a system in place for how we do things, in terms of teaching the run game step by step and then teaching our protections step by step. And it's very thorough, but easy to understand, but also complex enough to give, obviously, the defense's issues in the run game and pass protection. So, and then really the skill development, that they've done also with the players, partnering with the player to improve. You can go across the line and really say each guy has improved and gotten better, really from A to Z, from Braxton, to Tevin, to everybody, to Sam, to everybody's gotten better over the course of the year. Even Cody, Cody's improved, just him being a big vet, he's improved over the course of the year too. But that's a tribute to the players and the coaches working together. But, we're pleased with those guys. Obviously they got a big task ahead of them the next couple weeks. Going forward, and we're going to take it one day at a time. We got a big padded Wednesday coming up, coming off of our bye, and that's going to be a big part of our success going forward.
Explain, if you can, what this season has been like for Tevin Jenkins and how you have seen him grow, adapt, big uncertainty to start the season, and Pro Football Focus, which everybody keeps talking about, and obviously you grade differently than they do, but he's been, they say, the league's 4th best guard. We've seen a lot of good things about him. Well, what's your perspective on him?
Yeah, so obviously the move to guard, number one, stepping in there and then feeling really comfortable in there pretty fast. He really did a good job of stepping in there. He's really smart, understands that guard position does have some different things that we do, has more calls. Does more in the run game in terms of pulling and jumping to the second level than the tackle does. So that fit him really well, and it's really good to have a big body in there, so he's obviously got a really big frame. He's really athletic, but it's certainly good to have that inside there in the pocket to keep that inside pocket clean and firm for the quarterback. So we're really pleased with that part of it. And, he's done a good job of growing. He's grown in terms of his consistency in practice, which has led to more consistency in the game.
Adam Johns of The Athletic. I don't know if you saw the feature. He wrote one on Tevin. Chris Morgan in that article said that you guys track pancake blocks. And he says, quote, "The belt has changed hands quite a few times, but it's a title that Jenkins wants to win." That's how he plays. He finishes every block to the echo of the whistle. Puts guys on the back.
No, he's got great wind. He's got great stamina, which, that comes naturally to a lot of players, but it certainly comes natural to him. He's able to run all day, and he's able to get down the field on those screen blocks. And, that when we break some runs, he's able to get down there and give second effort blocks as well.
Braxton Jones, he keeps talking about his inconsistency handling bull rushes. Can an offseason of lower body strength and technique help him withstand that and drop his anchor?
Yeah, I think it can. You get with his strength staff, and then working with his off-site people that he works with, and obviously gain a little bit of weight, and get some strength in his lowers, and some technique improvements going to help him in that, and he's got to be able to set differently when he goes against different skill sets that'll help him out with that bull rush.
Snap, bootleg, Fields. He's got options, including a wide-open Kmet. Makes the grab of the 18. There he goes to the end zone. Touchdown! Touchdown, Bears! 50-yard strike on 2nd and 1, and Kmet with his second touchdown of the day.
Back in our final segment with Bears head coach Matt Eberflus out of the bye week, back to work at Hallis Hall as they get ready for the Philadelphia Eagles. We'll touch on them coming up in this segment as well. But last 6 weeks, Coach Cole Kmet, 260 yards and 5 touchdowns. I felt all along he'd be excellent in the red zone and be a touchdown maker. It's starting to come to fruition. 4 first down catches in the Green Bay game. That was a season high, and it's been elevating as the season goes on. Arrow up for this guy, isn't it?
Yeah, no question. He's done a really good job of learning the offense, and he's really taken, the physical style really to heart. His run after catch has been excellent. He's done a really good job of punching it forward. Obviously a big target, obviously in the open field. He's had that one big shot that we had the other week. That corner route was really excellent, and be able to catch that ball in the sun, and then his red zone targets have increased, and he's a guy that's always open. When you get a big target like that, he can work himself away from the defender and has the big catch radius to always be open and the strength at the catch point to be able to finish and seal the deal. So we're pleasantly surprised, not really surprised, pleasantly, optimistic about his future and about where he's going to take this thing going forward.
All right, let's touch on the run game because the numbers, I love them. I love the run game. I do, and clearly you do as well. So does Luke Getsy. Averaging 189 rushing yards, on pace to set a single-season franchise record with 32-16. This is just fun media stuff, so I know you don't get into all the math, but Baltimore, the league record of 32.96 in 2019. There's only been 5 teams that have hit 3,000 rushing yards, including the Bears. Is it something of a goal to get 3,000 yards rushing or more here and go for these records? Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's an important part that we just are able to run the ball efficiently, and that's a big part of the Chicago Bears, and that's will be us going forward. We just want to do a great job of running the ball efficiently and effectively to win the game. And we know in the elements as you get down the stretch here, into December and into January and, in later dates than that, we got to make sure that we do a great job of being able to run and control the game, with the run game. So that's always an important part for us going forward.
I failed to bring this up earlier when we were talking about the rookies. How do you measure the balance of letting things kind of just happen naturally, develop with players versus throwing them into the fire? Because I don't think you're necessarily throwing guys into the fire. You need to see it on the practice field. Guys have probably lost snaps or earned snaps on Wednesday.
Yes. Yep, that's so true. And that doesn't matter if they're a rookie or not, because it's important for us to be able to see it on the practice field. They got to perform in practice, through the repetition of individual into the team reps for us to be able to say, okay, we feel good and we feel confident that the guy knows what he's doing and knows how to do it. And then we put him in there. And the guys have done that, and again, that goes back to the teaching of the coaches. Coaches have to be great teachers to be able to put a young player out there, to be able to get him to that point so we can trust him and so he can be there. And then we understand there's going to be some bumps along the way when you put some young guys in there, but we know that the benefit of that down the road is going to outweigh that. So we're excited where those guys are going. And again, a big test here the next 4 weeks.
Away from the football field, there is I've always been impressed, certainly with this organization, but players around the league. Football gives back, in my opinion, more than any other sport. They get Tuesdays off for a reason, yes, to reload and get a little break, but they hit the community, and it's something that is important to you. And the net result of that is everybody gets a Walter Payton Award nominee, and this year it's Jalen Johnson, announced last week. He's done a lot in his Fresno area. Impactful, indeed, and why is it so important to you?
Yeah, I mean, Jalen's done an outstanding job. That's why he's our nominee. He puts himself out there and worked tirelessly to help his community in a couple of different, charities and a couple of different events that he puts on every single year. And our guys have done a really good job this year. We've made a real big emphasis on giving back to the community. And every single team meeting on the Wednesdays, we have a community pictures where we, show pictures, and each guy talks about where he was and how impactful it was for him, not only for the people that he was visiting in that particular place, but very important to us about giving back because we are, in this position to be able to do so. We want to make sure we maximize that here in the Chicago area.
Touching lives, right, Matt? Touching lives.
Yes, sir.
All right, now it's time to look ahead. Brought to you by Bet Rivers, the official sports book partner of the Bears. We've touched on it from the top to here. Eagles arrive red hot, 48-22 over the Giants. First team to clinch a playoff spot. Jalen Hurts, top 10 in touchdown passes, threw 2, ran for 1. First drive of the game, Matt, he hit 8 different receivers and made it look easy. He is definitely an MVP candidate.
Yeah, so the Eagles have a really complete football team. Start with the quarterback. The runners. Obviously the talented receivers. One of the best offensive lines in football. Then you flip it over to the defense. It starts up front, and they got 2 waves of defensive linemen. Obviously I think they have five players that have over 5 sacks. Yep. Their corners are really good, solid players that are ball hawk type players. And the linebacker safeties, they're solid as well. So they have a really good roster, and they got good schemes, that are simple, that are easy to repeat, but also complex enough to give people fits in terms of their pace and how they do things. And, the quarterback makes that thing go. And he's certainly having an MVP year. And, he's exciting to watch. You watched him yesterday. There's a lot of things going on, empty sets and different quarterback runs and, in the quick passing game, and the way they utilize their skill sets on both sides of the ball is impressive. And that's why they're 12-1.
The defensive line, they're getting interior and exterior pass rush. And heck, their linebacker, Hassan Reddick, leads them in sacks with 10. So they're getting it from everywhere. Is this the biggest challenge of the year? Right up there with the Dallas game, because you guys have faced really good fronts all year.
Right. Yeah, we certainly have. I don't know if we've faced one this deep, though. This is a very deep defensive front. And again, we'll have our hands full, but we're up for the challenge for sure.
Do you think you've uncovered anything that could ignite the pass rush during this bye week?
We'll see. We worked at some different things, pressure in different ways, and second level players. We certainly have to do that. But again, we like to get pass rush from our front four, and we're working with those guys diligently to help those guys pass rush and get home to the quarterback.
All right, welcome back. Good forward to seeing you this week, and good luck with your preparation. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
That's Bears head coach Matt Eberflus. Want to thank Keith Johnson, Andy Gersher, Dan Barilli, Jordan Tredup, and Brandon Faber for helping us out tonight. I'm Jeff Joniak. For head coach Matt Eberflus, we're back at Soldier Field for Week 15 as the Bears meet the Eagles. Pre-game at 9, kickoff at noon. That's it for us. Thanks for listening, everybody. This is News Radio 105.9 WBBM. Good night.